What have you got there, Holly?
Books galore! Hello, I'm Holly, and I'm here with Mummy for the Books Galore podcast number 5. Say hello, Mummy.
Hello, Holly, and hello to our listeners. Holly, what book are we discussing today?
Good question, Mummy. Today we are looking at The Witches, the Roald Dahl one though.
Oh,
Mummy's favourite.
It is. Now, I remember reading this when I was little, which was a very long time ago.
And I remember you reading it to me. One day, Mummy showed it to me, and she read the whole book to me.
I did some very silly voices though, didn't I?
Yes, I may have read that book about 10 or 11 times, roughly, or maybe more.
But you've read it in school and you've read it at home as well, haven't you? And we've got a copy at home.
Yes,
Okay. So
very big.
For those people who haven't read the book, can we give them a little flavour of what it's like? We won't give the plot away too much, but what's the general bit about the book?
Well, there's this boy and his grandmother, and his grandmother is Norwegian, and she knows a lot about witches, and she tells him a story about she tells him lots about witches, and he meets a witch, and then he gets trapped in a room of witches, and well, you'll have to find out what happens, and he does get in danger.
So they've made The Witches into a film, haven't they? Multiple times.
Yes, there's quite a few. I've watched the film as well.
What's your favourite bit about the book?
Probably the event that happened, probably when they get rid of the witches.
At the end.
And also I like where I like the suspense in the bit where he's trapped in the room with
Can you remember?
35 witches, I think it was.
That was a lot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just in case our listeners are a bit worried about how you spot a witch, can you remember any of the ways that we can spot a witch?
I do. If you want to spot a witch, first thing is that if they're witches, they have no toes whatsoever.
Ew, that's disgusting.
Mummy, you already know this.
I know, but it still makes me feel sick, Holly.
I know. They still wear those pointed shoes, but if you see them, if you look carefully, you'll see them sort of limping a bit because it awfully hurts squeezing their feet into those pretty little pointy shoes.
The one that really makes me laugh is quite often if someone keeps itching their head, it might be they're a witch because they've got no hair and they're wearing an itchy wig.
They wear a first-class witch. It extremely irritates the scalp, and they go and they're itching it and they're itching it. It puts a rash and they're like itch, 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 itch.
So what makes witches so dangerous to children?
They hate children.
Apparently they smell.
Absolutely hate. Do you know what? They smell. This is disgusting, so you might want to
Just block your ears.
block your ears if it's too disgusting for you. If you don't like disgusting things, then block your ears. But when you've just taken a bath, bath, and people think you're smelling like raspberries and cream and beautifully
all
like
those
roses,
lovely things,
like roses. What's actually to a witch? You're smelling like rotten dog dropping.
Oh, yuck.
Mum.
So, if you think that a witch is after you, don't have a shower. Stay dirty.
Once a month is good enough for a
That's what she said, wasn't it? Yes,
that's
right.
what his grandmother says.
Yes.
And his grandmother is from Norway, which is where witches started, where they came from. It's where they originate.
The thing that really like about this book, and especially because when I read it originally, the original illustrations, all of the pictures in the book were done by a gentleman called Quentin Blake.
That's the same in our copy as well.
That's right, Quentin Blake. Now, Quentin Blake I don't know if Holly knows this, Quentin Blake did the illustrations for, I think, pretty much every Roald Dahl book.
I know, I've read almost every single Roald Dahl book there is, and every one I've seen illustrated by Quentin Blake.
Quentin Blake. They're very, very good, and they're very, very good.
I like the illustrations. And one bit, be careful, because if you get the book, you will see that, well, the Grand High Witch has a mask on, but her face is hideous. She is hideous. One second, she's looking like a beautiful young lady. The next second, let me out of here. Oh, she looks horrible.
I would also like to mention to any mums out there or dads out there who are listening, if you don't like mice, can I suggest that you cover your ears when your child is reading the book, because otherwise they're going to tell you, and there's quite a lot of mice in it, isn't there? We can't tell you why, but there's lots of mice in it, isn't there?
You see, pet mice and a special
disaster that's right.
of mice.
Of mice.
There's quite a lot of mice in it, but there's more witches than mice.
More witches than mice. So I would wholeheartedly, because I recommended this to Holly, and I think we both would wholeheartedly recommend it to anyone who's listening, wouldn't we?
Absolutely anyone. I think any age.
Yes, that is the wonderful thing, is that it's entertaining for children as well as entertaining for adults as well.
Yeah, I like it has a lot of suspense, but then there's it's for everyone. For people who like adventure.
Yep.
It's for people who just like the quiet.
And a bit of magic, a bit of
everybody loves
potions,
magic.
Yep.
The people who like, and you see, in this book, witches are different. They're not pointed hats.
No pointy hats, no.
Black cloaks.
No.
Not
They're quite disguised, aren't they? Which is quite.
In fact, if you look on the back, this is a phrase that witches always say. This is their motto: 1 child a week is 52 a year. Squash them and squiggle them and make them disappear.
You can't go around doing that to children.
Mummy, you know the book. You're supposed to be
right.
shushing.
So, we would both say, absolutely, read the book. Mums, dads, read it to your children. Children, read it to your mums and dads. And be careful. Witches look like everybody else, so you have to look very, very carefully.
There's a thing about it that tells you just about witches. You see, they look, though, just like ordinary witches.
They do. But they tell you all the things that you can notice them by,
A note about witches. In fairy tales, witches always wear silly black hats and black cloaks, and they ride on broomsticks. But this is not a fairy tale. This is about real witches. The most important thing you should know about real witches is this. Listen carefully.
I'm listening.
Mummy, stop interrupting! The most important thing you should know about real witches is this. Listen very carefully. Never forget what is coming next. Real witches dress in ordinary clothes and look very much like ordinary women. They live in ordinary houses. They work in ordinary jobs. That's why they're so hard to catch.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, that's our recommendation for this podcast, and we are very thankful for you all listening.
And one thing, to spot a witch, also, they have blue spit.
Really?
They have blue spit.
I didn't remember that one.
They have fire and dance, ice that dances in their eyes. They're extremely dangerous. Not adults, though, unless the adults fall into their traps.
So, why don't we say goodbye, Holly, and we will look forward to seeing you next time.
But children, try to be careful if a strange person comes on. Never
trust a stranger.
Ever. Especially not a woman, because she might be a witch.
Exactly. Thank you ever so much for listening, and we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Maybe you'll be turned into a mouse.
Bye-bye.